Okay, in this video, we're going to be looking at variable expressions as inputs of functions, problem type 2. So this is going to be the advanced version of the previous video on this topic. Okay, so let's recall that anytime that you have something like this squared with two terms on the inside, this is a binomial, it's getting squared. Okay, that is going to be a squared plus 2ab, and that's plus or minus actually, and then plus b squared. Okay, and recall what that means is if you have something like a plus b squared, that is a plus b times another a plus b. Okay, so you have to distribute the a times the a gives you the a squared. The a times the b gives you ab, and then a times b gives you another ab. That's the reason there's two of them here. And then the last thing times the last thing gives you b squared. And if they're both negative or both positive, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be, the last term is going to be positive. Okay, so let's take a look at this first one. We've got the function g is defined by g of x is equal to 7 over 2x squared minus 4. Find g of x minus 6. So what we're going to do is put the x minus 6 in place of the x right there, and then it's going to get squared. Okay, so g of x minus 6 is equal to 7 over 2 times x minus 6 squared minus 4. Okay, so we need to figure out what x minus 6 squared is. Okay, so let's do that over to the side over here. So x minus 6 squared is the same thing as x minus 6 times x minus 6, right? And you can use this little thing if you want. You might be able to do this in your head. If not, watch this. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. Negative 6 times x is another negative 6x. And then negative 6 times negative 6 is a positive 36. If we combine these two middle terms here, you get x squared minus 12x plus 36. Okay, so that's what I'm going to put right here in place of the x minus 6. I'm going to put this x squared minus 12x plus 36 right there. Okay, so this is equal to 7 over 2 times x squared minus 12x plus 36. And then, of course, I have that minus 4 that I haven't done anything with yet. Okay? So now I'm going to distribute this 2 here to all three of those terms, not to the negative 4 because it's not in the parentheses. So that gives me 7 divided by 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times negative 12x is negative 24x. And then 2 times 36 is 72, and then minus 4. Okay, my last thing I need to do is combine this 72 with this negative 4. So my final answer on this one is 7 over 2x squared minus 24x plus 68. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at this one. This time we have f of x is equal to 4x squared minus 5x. Oh, this should have been an f. Sorry about that. And then we're asked to plug in x minus 3 into this function right there. So I'm plugging the x minus 3 everywhere I see an x. So f of x minus 3 is equal to 4. Instead of x squared, we'll write x minus 3 squared. And then minus 5 instead of x, we'll write an x minus 3. Okay, now just like last time, I want to figure out what the x minus 3 squared term is. So let me write it over here on the side. So x minus 3 times x minus 3, that's x minus 3 squared, right? So x times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. X times negative 3 is another negative 3x, and then the final term, negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Combine those middle terms, you get x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay, so that's what I'm going to put right here in place of the x minus 3 squared. I'll leave that 4 sitting out front, so it'll be 4 times x squared minus 6x plus 9. That takes care of this term. And then I'll distribute this negative 5. So negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. Negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, I'm going to do one more distribution. This 4 needs to be distributed to all three of those terms on the inside of the parentheses, so by multiplication. So 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times negative 6x is negative 24x. 4 times 9 is positive 36. And then here's the negative 5x and plus 15. Okay, I want to combine like terms and then I'll be done with this problem. There's no like terms for the x squared term, so I'll just do 4x squared. Let's see, we have a negative 24x here, and we have a negative 5x there. Remember, two negatives, you add them and keep the sign. So that's negative 29x. And then we've got the 36 and the 51. If we combine those, we get, or 15, excuse me. 36 and 15, you do get 51. Little slip there. Okay, so that problem is done. Let's go to the next one. So this time we are plugging in x plus 2 into this function right here in place of x. So h of x plus 2 is equal to, here's my 9 on top. Nothing's going to happen to that. Negative 6. Instead of x squared, I have x plus 2 squared. And then plus 7, instead of 7 times x, it's 7 times x plus 2. So everywhere I see an x, I'm plugging in an x plus 2. Okay. Quickly, let's do this x plus 2 squared real quick to see what that is. So if I multiply that through, I get x times x is x squared. X times 2x is 2, or x times 2 is 2x. 2 times x is another 2x. And then 2 times 2 is 4. Combine those terms, I get x squared plus 4x. That's these two. Plus 4. Okay, so that right there is what I'm going to put right here in place of the x plus 2 squared. Okay, so let's do that. This is equal to, here's the 9 on top. Negative 6 is still sitting out front, right? And then I have x squared plus 4x plus 4. Okay, and then I can go ahead and distribute the 7 to that parentheses. So that'll be 7x plus 14. That's the 7 times the x and the 7 times the 2. Okay, I need to do one more distribution on the denominator here with this negative 6. Let's go ahead and do that. So the 9 stays on top. Again, nothing's happening to it. Negative 6 times x squared is negative 6x squared. Negative 6 times 4x is negative 24x. Negative 6 times 4 is negative 24. And then we have the 7x plus the 14. Okay. If we combine like terms on the bottom, here's the 9. Okay. So the negative 6x squared has no like term, so we'll just write it down. Here's my x term, negative 24. And then I have a positive 7. These are opposite signs. So add them or subtract them and keep the sign of the bigger number. So it's going to be negative since this is negative. Okay. So that's going to be negative 17x. And then combine these two, negative 24 and a positive 14. That makes a negative 10. Okay. So that's the answer for that one. All right. One more. Okay. On this one, we're asked to plug in an x minus 5 in here in place of x. So h of x minus 5 is equal to negative 3 times x minus 5 squared. That's where the x was. And then plus 2, and instead of x, I'll write an x minus 5 there as well. Okay, I need to figure out what x minus 5 squared is, so let me do that really quick. X minus 5 times x minus 5. Distribute this out, and you get x squared. That's x times x. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Negative 5 times x is another negative 5x. And then negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25. Combine these two middle terms, and you get x squared minus 10x plus 25. Okay, so that is what I'm going to put in place of this right here. The x minus 5 squared will now be this. Okay, so that gives us negative 3 times that stuff I just multiplied, so x squared minus 10x plus 25. Okay, and then I can go ahead and distribute this if I want. So plus 2 times x is 2x, and then 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Okay, one more distribution and then we'll combine like terms and be done. So here we go. Distribute the -3 to all three of those terms. So that gives us -3 times x squared is -3x squared. -3 times -10x is positive 30x, right? Negative times a negative. -3 times positive 25 is a -75. Here's my 2x and my -10. Okay, and then I just need to combine like terms and I'll be done. -3x squared has no like terms, so I just write it down. Okay, here's my x terms. 30x and 2x make 32x. And then -75 and -10, we add and keep the sign, so that will be -85. And that's the answer to that one.